2021 has truly been a bizarre year. It honestly felt like the previous year never actually finished. While we still struggle with lockdowns and variants, supply chains have gone worse before they get better, and with a few exceptions, E3 was an absolute snooze fest. Even in regards to game releases, things have felt incredibly off, with many high-profile delays and what feels like a lot of remasters, with some faring worse than others. But once again, it's time to count down our favourite games from the past year. Get your comments ready, because here are the Unboxed Top 10 Games of 2021. Back in '99, the desire to capture Pokemon on consoles was greatly desired. Unfortunately, the best the N64 could do was let you capture them on film. Regardless of that, Pokemon Snap was still an enjoyable yet fairly short safari through several habitats snapping away. Since then, there has been continuous demand for a sequel. It only took 21 years to release one! Much like the first one, not all Pokemon are here, but there are at least over 230 to capture in many different settings. Each area has different routes to take, as well as both night and day scenarios. There are also challenges to capture Pokemon doing certain things. New Pokemon Snap is everything we hoped a sequel would be. It's just a shame it was 5 years too late. While it is a beautiful game, maybe even the best looking Pokemon game ever made, it's hard to miss how it could have worked so much better on the Wii U. Games like Fatal Frame with its camera and Star Fox Zero with its 2 viewpoints show how much better Snap would have been on the previous system. Would it have been the game that saved the Wii U? Probably not, but let's just hope it's not another 20 years before we get another sequel. The Metal Gear series has always been a bit on the stupid side. It's never been something I can take seriously, and that goes double for its creator. Well, it seems like I'm not the only one with this brand new tongue-in-cheek tribute to the series. Unmail seems to be if the guys who created Airplane decided to make an action movie parody and it ended up as a game, taking tropes from many movies in the genre and the original Metal Gear games on the MSX. You play as cliché-dripping Jesse Fox, apparently arrested for a crime he didn't commit, and has to sneak his way out of a fortified military base by way of his fists. You will see him recreate his story in real time and even decide which path to take. It's so full of twists and turns I honestly thought Kojima had penned this parody himself. The minute I played this game, I was immediately hooked, much like the mystical harpoon it's centered about. Adopting a rotoscope style similar to Another World and the original Prince of Persia, Olila centers around a sea captain discovering a harpoon after becoming shipwrecked. When this harpoon is wedged in somewhere, he can grapple himself in that direction. The weapon is used as much for exploration and platforming as it is for combat. There was just something so satisfying with how the game handled. While you could crash through platforms, there was no fall damage, so you could end up squashing enemies beneath you with a satisfying squelch. While it's not particularly long or hard, it's just how well the game flowed. Those subtle moments of humour and how lifelike the art style is that really pulls it over the line for me. World on the Wii U wasn't a bad game, but in regards to being a follow-up to Galaxy on the previous system, there is no denying that it's way behind other titles in the franchise, especially since its successor Odyssey blew it out of the water. But with it being one of the last holdouts still available only on the Wii U, it was about time to see it re-released on Switch. While the original game is here in all of its glory, this spot is actually going to the brand new expansion, Bowser's Fury, which plays a lot more like Odyssey than the game it's piggybacking on. Armed with Bowser Jr. by your side and a Gear Katsu to fight giant Bowser with, This new expansion may just be one world and several hours long, but it felt like a whole new journey. I spent so much time on Bowser's Fury, I almost forgot the original game. While things can get repetitive, especially when Bowser awakens and rains havoc down everywhere, there is enough variety here with everything you unlock to keep you entertained. And plus, when you finish, 3D World is still there for you in the end. And yet another re-release. Seriously, the amount of ports and remasters I played this year could make up its own list. This time, one of the most controversial games in the Zelda series that wasn't on CDI gets one more shot, and they honestly hit it out of the park. While many originally praised Skyward Sword's art style and character development, the same can't be said for its controls. As the centerpiece of the motion plus attachment on Wii, the combat proved more of a hindrance than an improvement. This time around, the sword has been moved to the right thumbstick, and it honestly makes all the difference. Gone are the days struggling to get the sword in just the right angle. Boss battles that were once a real pain are an absolute breeze. And while some people have criticized Nintendo for charging $60 for this remaster, at least some actual effort was put into this one. And we go from a Zelda remaster to a Zelda knockoff with one of the most hilarious titles ever made. Honestly, that's half the reason it's up on this list. Turret Boy really is something with his shit-eating grin, his desire to rip up everything, and his overall stick-it-to-the-man attitude. As the name suggests, he has flat out refused to pay his taxes, and is now required by Mayor Onion to complete numerous chores for him. Of course, things go off the rails, and that's before you fight the mutated deer. With everything that's been going on in the world when it comes to workers finally rising up and taking a stand, Turnip Boy really speaks to me. On the surface, it may just look like a simple Zelda knockoff, but deep down there is a truly heartfelt and deep narrative here. Plus, it's great that the IRS are finally off Yoshi's back after all these years. I've been waiting for this game for what feels like forever, especially after that spin-off a few years back hurt so much. Following the original games on Wii, this brand new iteration took the concept and ramped it up in every possible way. No more are you just waggling your stick, but now everyone's favorite otaku assassin, Travis Touchdown, is armed with a whole new slew of weapons. This time around, he is fighting aliens from every corner of the galaxy, but the core game is still basically the same. Earn money by doing odd jobs to pay for the main fight. There are some issues with grinding to reach levels, but where it works, oh man does this game work. Whether it's the brand new glove moves or Travis and his friends chatting about legendary Japanese director Miike, there was rarely a dull moment to be had. Now Suda, let's talk Killer 7 sequel. Or at least get the original on Switch. Several years ago, we awarded the first chapter of Deltarune an honorary mention in our end-of-year list. Because we were yet to know what or even if Toby was going to continue with the project, we weren't confident giving it a spot on the list. This time around is much different. Released days after Undertale's 6th anniversary, this brand new chapter expands on the narrative, as well as delving deeper into characters like Bertley and Noelle. Not to mention new characters like Spamton and the Queen, who seems to have a fascination with bananas. While it's still early days with the series with at least several more chapters planned, very slowly the world of Deltarune is beginning to unravel, even if the ending left us with more questions than it answered. Also, if anyone even thinks of hurting Noelle, I will end them. I was incredibly cautious coming into this game. Will it be a crowd-funded sequel to a long dormant franchise? I had been stung before. But I'm happy to say that Psychonauts 2 didn't just meet my expectations, it damn well shattered them. Set right after the original game, which released over 15 years ago now, we are reunited with Raz, Lily, and the rest of our psychic special agents on a whole new adventure, and this is an absolute mental trip. Much like the original, a lot of time and effort was put into both the hub world and each of the levels, focusing on several particular mental anguishes. The crew took what worked, like Raz's range of psychic abilities, and fixed what didn't work, like the platforming and exploration. And now that Double Fine is under the ownership of Microsoft and its Xbox Studios umbrella, they'll never have to beg for money to make a game ever again. And now... development hell is never pretty. We all know about the legendary horror stories like Duke Nukem Forever and Two Humans spending too much time in the oven that when they're finally pulled out, they were a burnt, inedible mess. Even a game like The Last Guardian, which was actually pretty good, still had some jank caused by its almost decade-long development. But finally, we have a game that didn't just survive, but absolutely thrived. "19 years after the release of Fusion, Mercury Steam took what they learned from the Samus Returns remake to finally make Dread a reality. Whether it was Samus's large array of abilities, the absolutely nerve-wracking escapes from the Emmys, or the detailed plan of ZDR, every inch of Metroid Dread was fine-tuned to absolute perfection. The combat was top-notch from the simple critters to the excruciating difficult final boss. From start to finish, Samus's latest adventure was well worth the wait. And that's why Metroid Dread is officially Unbox's 2021 Game of the Year.